but everybody welcome. And thanks for joining this morning. I'm going to be recording it, like I said, in case people can't make it. We're going to try to stick to an hour so we don't, we respect everybody's time. And of course, if you have any questions during the presentation, I'll stop at every slide if you have questions, okay? That being said, if you want to get into more detailed discussion about short-term rentals, I am available for a one-on-one. That's what I usually do, especially if you're out of province, even if you're here. If you're interested in the next tours that we're going to be doing, you can also tour some short-term rentals with us online. So virtually, if you're not in Montreal, okay? So for those who don't know me, I am a chartered real estate broker for about 18 years now. I started investing at 26 in my first duplex. And recently, in the last 5 years, I've also been teaching in the real estate college, and I work with the Keyspire group across Canada with Scott McGilvery, who I basically followed since I was 26, renovating my first duplex. So it's a real treat for me to be working with Scott McGilvery and all the investors across Canada. It's super exciting. So I'm going to go over short-term rental today, why it's a good investment right now with our current economic situation. And I will be presenting an opportunity with Group Sierra that I feel is it's a good deal. I'm an investor as well, so when I present stuff, I only present stuff that I feel I would invest in. Are there other short-term rental opportunities? Yes, this one is just turnkey and ready to go. So that's why I like it for investors. So here's what we're going to see today. And like I said, you guys can jump in at every slide. It is a presentation, but I do enjoy participation and questions. Hi, Vito. Hi, Shiri. Thanks for joining. I see you guys are on. So here's the agenda for today. Hi, guys.
You're welcome.
Oh, I think that's my phone talking to me. Okay.
That's because you said my name.
Sorry?
Hey, that's
Hi.
because you said Siri. And it thinks it's talking to
exactly.
iPhone Siri.
Oh, my iPhone is interjecting in my presentation here. That's super funny. Okay, so I'll remember not to say your name during this presentation. Sorry. That's hilarious. Okay, so today we're going to look at, it looks like a lot of stuff, but it's going to be pretty quick and fun. A side note, I am going to be doing a draw for a weekend at St. Côme. Okay, so I'm doing it old style. I have all the names here of all the people who have signed up. So I'm going to be drawing a name like old school, and somebody's going to get to stay at one of the beautiful model homes in St. Côme, which is right past Rodden, for those who don't know. Okay, we are going to be looking at investing in income properties versus vacation rentals right now. What are the pros and cons? How to analyze a short-term rental property. This is something that people have been asking me a lot about. So how do you analyze a short-term rental property? It's not the same as an income property. We're going to look at location, and zoning, which are one of the ways to analyze the short-term rental deal, and as well as essential features you should have in your short-term rental. We're going to get into managing the short-term rental yourself versus hiring a company. And of course, we're going to talk about finances. So the interest rates right now, the impact on the market, the financial strategy with this particular opportunity that I'm going to present to you guys. We'll go over a quick market study of the St. Côme, La Naudière area, and again, why it's an up and coming area to look at. And if you have any questions, we'll go through that as well. All right, so like I said, I'll go through each slide, and if you guys have a question on this particular slide, I'm happy to stop before we go on. Before I start, actually, I'd like to know, so far here, are you guys all, like, maybe with a show of hands, does anybody have a short-term rental investment right now? Anybody? Serge? Connie? Nobody? Okay. Just wondering.
I don't have it yet.
Yet.
Next fall.
I like that. Yet.
Next fall.
Perfect. So myself as well, investment strategy up until now has always been small plexes. Then I've moved to larger plexes. I've always done the multifamily income property. I grew up in a duplex. I bought my first duplex at 26, did the BRRRR strategy with that. That's really what I've done well with. That being said, I have a lot of colleagues, friends in the industry that do very well with short-term rental across Canada. I've been searching now for over a year for myself and for clients to, I've actually helped investors buy short-term rentals, and through doing that, I myself got so interested in the project, and I see the cash flow opportunities. So this is how I kind of got into the short-term rental space, and I am investing myself this year. I've been looking for a year for a deal. This came up, I loved it. And again, that's why I'm sharing it with you guys. So what is the difference in terms of investing in multifamily versus investing in short-term rental? It really comes down to the revenue. The short-term rental is variable revenue. The income property is fixed revenue. Along with that, of course, comes pros and cons. Variable revenue with a short-term rental doesn't, might sound scary. It is a higher risk. You need to have a bit of a higher risk tolerance. However, with higher risk comes higher returns. It's more of a lifestyle investment. Typically, the cash flow is much higher. We're talking double, triple monthly revenues, right? When you compare to the fixed. And of course, you don't have the tenant issues and the leases to deal with. You have different things to deal with. The multifamily, again, it's kind of the opposite. So you're looking at shorter, less cash flow. You do have more stable income. However, again, it's less cash flow. So if for those who are looking for cash flow, I would say the higher risk is probably worth the higher returns. Again, this is going to depend on your profile, right? Mm-hmm. So how do we look at the revenues? Well, it's simple. The revenues on income property, it's your monthly rent minus your expenses, your mortgage, and you get the fixed monthly income or profit. It's based on rental demand and how well you optimize the building. On the short-term rental side, the calculation, and we'll get into the analyzing, it's a little bit different because we're looking at occupancy rates. How many days are you going to have, is your short-term rental going to be occupied? And what is the average daily rate? What are you going to charge per night, which will fluctuate? So that's going to be your estimated monthly income. And this is going to be based a lot on seasonality. Okay, seasonality, and we'll get into that. That's one of the ways you're going to analyze your short-term rental when you come across an opportunity. So this is pretty much the differences. Now, how are we going to analyze it? This is going to be probably the most important thing to look at is how are you going to analyze the short-term rental? Okay, so I'm going to go back to this. So how do we analyze a short-term rental? I'm going to share with you guys some tools that I've used, tools that we've used to analyze this deal and others. I am sure you guys have heard of this in real estate: location, location, location. Mm-hmm. Right? Everybody's heard of that. Mm-hmm. Why do we say location, location, location? Because that's what's going to dictate if people are going to come, and that's going to dictate maybe the average daily rate you can charge. It will dictate your occupancy rate. Mainly, there's other factors as well, right? But location, 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 I would tell you, is the number one factor. And even in multifamily location, investment, it's the same thing in real estate in general. So what are we looking at in terms of data? We are using AirDNA. You can get an account on AirDNA. It costs about $50 if you want to get the data on one area, okay? And what I mean by data is you're going to get numbers. So for example, you'll get how many homes are there for sale, for rent in the area, so that you can check out the competition. What are the amenities of the other properties for sale? What are the cleaning fees that they are charging? And then you also get to see the occupancy rates, again, like how long are people renting, for example, the short-term rentals in the area. So you can see here, I have an example of the larger area of Lanaudière, not just Saint-Côme. You can see Saint-Côme is in the middle here, but there's other areas in the Lanaudière region. You can see that the rental growth chart here from the previous years has gone up. Okay, so demand has gone up. Of course, during the pandemic, we all know that everybody wanted to, escape the city and go to a cottage and just live there forever. That trend hasn't changed. So if I've done a little bit of research, I'm trying to put the data together. La Presse had an article in Quebec talking about their national parks and how the smaller yurt type, ready to camp sort of cabins are always booked. They're always booked. You can't get them. I've tried myself. So for those who are not from Quebec, and maybe those who are from Quebec, I'm not sure if you know this, but Quebecers like to stay local for vacationing. And not everybody, some of us like to do the, all-inclusive, but because the prices have gone up a lot for, travel, airplane, it's even more in demand now. Staying, whatever you want to call it, staycation, camping, glamping, okay? So going back to the analysis, and I think this is probably the most important part of it, and this is where I can do this with you one-on-one, and I've helped other people sort of look through this. You can, instead of AirDNA, because you might have to pay to get all the data, you can also go on Airbnb, VRBO. So I've been on there extensively, and you do have to know what you're looking for. Okay, so if you're comparing, for example, a 3-bedroom model of a new construction chalet, which is something that we'll look at after, you have to take into consideration what you're looking at. So try to find another chalet that is also a newer construction. So here's an example of one I found in Saint-Côme, Quebec, which compares to what we're going to be looking at a little later. So what's really nice about Airbnb, VRBO as well, is you can see when it's occupied. So I found a few 3-bedroom older cottages in the area. Their occupancy rate was okay. This one, newer construction, you can see all the amenities and the pictures and the spa. It's beautiful. Okay, they are booked pretty much. If you look at the dates, they're booked June and July at $380 per night. That doesn't include the cleaning fee. The cleaning fee is separate. So this is what I mean by looking at comparable. So really look at something that's similar. This is actually, I believe this is a smaller home. This is not even a 3-bedroom, this one. So again, if you're gonna be investing in a 3-bedroom, look at 3-bedroom comparables. If you're investing in a mini home, look at the 1-bedroom homes. Also look at what is going on in the area. So I'll give you an example. On the AirDNA, I was looking at it in the area of Saint-Côme as an example. There were a lot of 3-bedrooms, which is your typical chalet. There were not a lot of availability or homes that had 1-bedroom. Okay, and this is why the mini homes, the developer came up with the mini homes, because it's something that's in demand for a couple with 1 or 2 kids, this sort of 1-bedroom, smaller cabin chalet in the middle of the woods. And that's what is sold out in the national parks, these sort of small glamping type cabins, if you will. So this information I got from Airbnb, and I would suggest as investors that you sort of start taking a look at it. So you see here, I can see that July, August, I can't book July and August because it's booked already. So this information is available to you. What amenities are they offering? What is it close to? How close is it to the ski hill? So these are all the things that you can use to compare, okay, when you're investing in something. So I'm sure you guys know about these sites already, but it's important to actually go and look at the data. Don't just take my word for it. I've done my due diligence. I've done my research. When I feel it's a good investment, it's because I've done my research, right? But I would suggest that as investors, you go ahead and do it too, because you won't invest in something unless you believe in it. I can show you the numbers. I can run the numbers with you. I can show you the area. I could take you on a tour. At the end of the day, you have to believe in the investment. You have to either go up there and say, yes, I see the development here. When I bought my duplex in Lachine, I was 25. People were telling me, what are you doing? Why are you buying a duplex in this, ghetto area? This is what I was told. Okay. But all I saw was the waterfront and this beautiful area that wasn't crowded like the other areas like NDG and Montreal. I said, you know what? This is going to be good. And I did my research and I believed it was a good investment, and it was the best investment ever. And Lachine has since obviously doubled and tripled and, gone on to increase in value. So all that to say is that look at the data. And again, we could look at it together, but you have to believe in the investment. I strongly believe in that, any investment. So any questions up until now, guys, about what are we looking for? Like, what are we looking for when you're looking for a short-term rental? Questions, comments, anything?
Hi, Eleni. It's Nancy here. I do have a question.
Yes.
So in terms of because I was looking at the inclusion and the specs of the house. So is it fully winterized for 4 seasons, the way that they're building it?
Oh, absolutely. It's these are 4-season new construction. Yeah, I mean, they couldn't be building 3-season because it would probably go against the building code. I'm not an expert on that, but yeah, these are 4-season. So I'll be going a little bit into like the different chalets. So again, we're doing an overview on the short-term rental. I'll get into the Saint-Côme, the actual opportunity that they have in the different chalets that they have. It is new construction. So what's really cool is you can pick your lot, you can pick your model, you can pick some extras and customize your chalet, which I would highly recommend, because as we saw in the comparables and the comps, the amenities, the way you because this is an experience you're offering, the amenities and what you have in your cottage can make the difference of more occupancy, right? Higher rental. So yeah, they're 4-season for sure. So when I said before, location, that's one of the things you have to look at, right? It's either you're going to be in the middle of nowhere. So a lot of people say, yeah, but I need a lake, or, for me, a cottage is a lake. For sure. That's one type of cottage rental, a lakefront cottage, which may be in the middle of nowhere. So for example, I'll give you an example. In Quebec, we have an area called Chertsey. So Chertsey is in the Lanaudière area. You can possibly find some chalets maybe on a lake. You'd have to check the zoning, of course, but there's nothing else to do. So this is going to be for somebody, there's nothing else to do. You're just on a lake. There's no stores. There's no ski hill. There's no, there's pretty much nothing to do, which is fine. And that could be good for certain clientele, right? Then you could also, if you're lucky, find something on a lake that's also near, near, let's say, a ski hill. So the areas in Quebec in general that we're talking about, this vacation type is, we're talking about north, so the Laurentians. We're talking about eastern townships, which is very popular for short-term rentals, of course. And we also have this area, Lanaudière, which is sort of like still unknown and I believe underdeveloped, like under tapped. And that's why we are starting to see development in these areas. And these are just going to, grow in value. So this area, Lanaudière, is basically a little bit east of the Laurentians. So when we're talking about the Laurentians, Mont-Tremblant, Saint-Sauveur, Saint-Adolphe d'Howard, all these places that are very well known, however, oversaturated, and the zoning is very difficult, to say the least. Shiri, you have a question?
Yeah, I just had a question, Eleni. Yes, we can use AirDNA and VBRO to check out what's currently available for rent or for booking. But how do we get some market data as to other developments, new builds that are happening in the area to know how many more STRs are potentially coming? Just
That's a
understand the
good question.
competition.
Yeah, and I've done that research as well. So again, on DNA, Airbnb, VRBO, you're looking at the current competition. You're absolutely right, which is important because you want to know how many 3 bedrooms, how many 1 bedrooms, you know, how many other short-term rentals, what are they offering, right? How can I compete with them? What you're talking about is, you know, looking at development in the area, which is a two-way street. Okay, so one, you want to see development in the area, right? At the same time, you may be worried, oh, is there going to be too many, right, short-term rentals in the area? So again, this brings me back to location, right? Look, really, we're looking at supply and demand, right? So I'll give you an example of Montreal. I have so many people calling me and saying, yes, I want to invent a short-term rental. I want Montreal. Okay. And we look at Montreal and we look at how many are already there. And then we look at the nightly rate that you'd have to charge because the price point is higher. There's so much competition. It's oversaturated. I have a 6-plex in Montreal. I love Montreal. I'm not putting Montreal down. It may not be, the numbers don't work all the time. It's difficult to make them work. Okay. So where could you find that information? To get back to your specific question is you can Google it. I can send it to you. For example, in this area, I know of a few developments going on, not that many. So there's the ski hill. So right now I'm talking specifically of Val Saint-Côme, which is the main ski hill there, which is lit up at night. The Canadian ski team trains there, which means there's a lot of activities and traffic going on January to March. It's even in December, they have competitions. It's full of people. So the demand is there for this area. Now, right next to the ski hill, you can Google this. There is the person who owns the ski hill owns the development right next to the ski hill, which is the ski in, ski out. It's called Oxygen. That's one development, starting in the high 900s, I believe, because it's ski in, ski out. Okay. What's interesting about this area is that the city of Saint-Côme, they already call themselves a touristic municipality, and that whole area of La Naudière, that's how they want to be seen, right? It's like untouched sort of tourist, you know, like hiking and the Assomption River, which is for kayaking. So this is what they want to be known for, and they are investing in developing this area. So there are other developments. So if, for example, in one of the domains where Groupe Sierra has their chalets, there's another domain called Domaine du Cerf. You'll see it on Google. What's good is that this is the only area zoned for short-term rental. So at some point there can't be, so in the town where people live, where it's residential, you're not allowed to do short-term rental. It's zoned specifically touristic short-term rental around the ski hill. So if you look at, you know, how much land there is, even if that's built, like that's it, there won't be any other short-term rentals in the area. So that's what I like about this area, that it's the city already has the mindset of being a touristic town. They've already allowed the short-term rental in a strategic area of the town. They've already approved a spa, which is going to be basically 5 minutes from the domain here. So, you know, kind of like what you have in Tremblant, an outdoor spa. So you can find that information easily if you Google it, and I'd be happy to share it with you. So there's a few developments going on. There's a few people, you know, building their own chalets, but again, it's restricted to this area.
Okay, thank
You
you,
want to
Ellen.
make sure the location is really good. Yes.
I was just saying thank you. That's great info.
Oh, you're welcome. So again, I can't say it enough, but the location, like that's probably the number one thing you want to do to vet the area. So are you buying a lakeside chalet? Great. So I had actually one of my investors, they invested in Nomineng. Okay. Nomineng is half an hour past Mont-Tremblant. Beautiful area. It's woods. There's one big lake and everybody has a house around the lake. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's serene. It's quiet. There's one little local store. It's like a little, you know, little town store. That's it. And it is zone short-term rental. for somebody who wants to, be on a lake with their family. And that's it. If they want to go skiing, it's a half an hour drive, 30, if they want to go do something else, there's no activities around there. Okay. So that's one type of an investment, which will attract, one type of user. In this case, we're really looking at the active outdoor family couple who wants to do hiking, mountain biking. It's a four-season area. Why? Because in the fall, as you guys know, in Quebec, we love to climb a mountain and look at the leaves. It's something we love to do. In the winter, they're skiing. Summer and winter are the high seasons. Summer, it's just, we're cooped up in the winter here, right? Our winters are tough. Summer, it's just being outside, making that fire outside, going to that park, the national park up the street, maybe doing some biking, rock climbing, waterfalls. This is what it is in the summer. The lakes, most of the people I know, they'll rent a cottage on the lake in Quebec. They won't go in the lake, right? Like they won't actually jump in the lake. I'm the one who jumps in the lake, but nobody else. But people do love to kayak and that sort of thing. So this specific area that I'm gonna talk to you guys about, some of you guys know about it already. It's not on the water, it's a mountain chalet. However, you have a notarized access to the Assomption River. The Assomption River, you can Google it, is the longest river for kayaking. It's peaceful. So there's going to be an entrance, little grass area, maybe some picnic tables where you can have a kayak so that you or your guests can kayak. And that's not going to be far. That's literally, I've been there. I've done the calculation with the drive. It's 5 minutes. That's another really nice thing about this area. Everything is quaint and close. There's no like 5 exits like Montreal. It's a nature heaven in that area there, and everything is close by. So again, in this case, you're going to be attracting people who they want to get out of the city, but they want to have some activities to do. And in this case, you have quite a bit of options. Okay. So we talked about location. We talked about location. Yes, Julia, go ahead.
Are you still talking about Saint-Côme or Chertsey or?
No, I'm talking about Saint-Côme in general. So Chertsey, I just gave an
Okay.
example of it's an
Okay.
area in this region. So this region where Saint-Côme is, it's called La Naudière. So there's the
Right,
Laurentians, like I
right.
said, up north. This area, like a lot of the areas, there's just nothing to do. It's just like it's beautiful, it's green, there might be a lake, but there's no, there's no activity. So in this area, what's really cool about it is that there's activities to do. You're actually, if you really wanted to go fishing and wanted to go to the Mont-Tremblant National Park, you're 30 minutes away from the national park. So it's very strategically located. It's close to water slides for kids. There's paintball in the area. So in my Google Drive, I share all the activities in the area. So again, I'm really kind of talking about what are we looking for a general short-term rental, and why this particular opportunity that I'll get more into the details ticks all the boxes for me, because this is what I'm looking for a short-term rental. So Nancy.
Oh, thanks, Eleni. 2 quick questions. So when I see the activities for like 4 seasons for summer, is there any golf around by chance?
I believe there is a golf, not in the area, somewhere in the vicinity.
Okay.
You'd have to drive to.
Okay.
But I don't think it's in Saint-Côme. There's no golf
In
there.
Saint-Côme,
So
okay. Is there any plans to develop? Have you heard or?
I've heard something about the golf. So because this is typically what happens, right? There's a spa,
Mhm.
golf, although the golf is sometimes a different clientele.
Yeah.
So right now, this area, the way I see it, it's very outdoorsy, very couple, family, outdoorsy activities. Again, and there is a plan for the water slides. The water slides are actually 30 minutes away in Saint-Mata, but they're bringing water slides and a spa. So again, it's like family, but I heard something about golf.
Okay, perfect.
And again, the city they're positioning themselves to be one of the towns. So if you've ever heard of Rawdon, Rawdon,
Yeah.
this is just north of Rawdon. So you get to Rawdon, you just keep driving, you pass the horses and the cows. It's beautiful. And then you get to St. Colm. And you kind of go up the mountains because St. Colm is elevated. It's a hilly mountainous region. And that's
Well,
where you're gonna have like the beautiful views, right? Yes.
Rawdon has a golf course. Like I have.
Rawdon, that's it. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
It's right on Gulf Drive, which I have a cottage on and a property. And
Oh.
Rawdon, how far is it from St. Colm?
Rawdon is probably 20 minutes out. It's like, so it's the town before St. Colm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
So I remember, I mean, that's why I'm saying I remember seeing a golf or knowing that
Yeah.
there's a golf in the vicinity, but not in St. Colm, but in that region.
Yeah, it's a very, it was kind of run down, but now it's really, they fixed up the clubhouse and everything. It's really, really nice golf place.
Oh, so nice to know you have a chalet in that area. So Rawdon is an area that I've rented in a couple of times with my family, and I enjoyed it. Why versus, again, I've been to Montreal, Saint-Sauveur. It's just more nature. It's more untouched. It's not as busy. It's real cottage. It's really that. That's my opinion. So other than location and activities, which you want to have something to do, unless again you're going for a different clientele. The essential features that you're going to have in your specific cottage, that's going to make a difference as well, right? So small touches, obviously hot tub, fireplace, sauna, these will cost you more to put in at the beginning, but they should give you a great return on your investment, because when people are looking, they're looking for certain things that they may not have at home. I have an electric fireplace at home. I don't have a real fireplace. So when I rent, I love to have a fireplace. It's sort of a bonus. Same thing as a hot tub. I don't have a hot tub at home, so if I'm going to rent a place, probably I'd like a hot tub, So things to consider as, yes, you're going to pay extra for them again at the beginning, but it's well worth it. Okay. So I'm just looking in the chat to see if there's any other questions. So I think it's Connie. You're asking about the financing, if it's harder to get. Good question. So I'm going to get to the financing aspect very soon. Okay. And good point, Shiri, your partner has to believe in it too. Good point. Whoever's investing in you has to absolutely believe in the, yeah. So I've had a couple of couples come up, and unfortunately one couple didn't believe in it, and that's okay. And because the thing is the short-term rental, like we said before, is not a fixed rent, is not a fixed income. However, it's a much higher return. And this is why, again, coming from somebody who's always invested in fixed, I'm investing in the short-term rental because I'm looking for cash flow. I'm looking for higher returns. All right, so we talked about zoning a little bit already. In Quebec, you need to have a certificate in order to be doing this legally. There are people right now going online and looking at if your property is on Airbnb and if it's zoned properly. I was very close to making an offer on a place in Montreal. I really wanted it. It wasn't zoned. I was going to just go ahead and do it illegally. And then I changed my mind. I said, you know what? I'm not going to be able to sleep at night.
Yeah.
And I know people personally that do it in Montreal. But I've also heard now, again, they're online checking. So if you're going to invest in a short-term rental, make sure it's zoned short-term rental. Even zoned short-term rental, like in the project that I'm working on in St. Colm, there's an acquired right. They're specifically zoning around the ski hill, which is excellent. There's other areas that have different rules, like you can do the short-term rental only if you don't have another person doing it in the vicinity of 5 kilometers. So every municipality is different. Make sure you're working with a realtor that knows how to find this information out for you. So you do have to have the certificate. There's a small cost to it, about $350, $360 for the year, which you have to run your business, because it is a business. What happens if the zoning changes is a question I get often. Okay. Again, it depends what municipality you're in. When you buy the property, is it an acquired right? How is it written in the legal documents? There's different types of zoning. There's touristic zoning. There's zoning where it's short-term rental is allowed with restrictions, with rules. So again, you really just have to check where you're buying, what is the exact zoning. So again, in this case, for short-term, for the Saint-Côme, they are zoned touristic, and there's an acquired right around the ski hill. So we're very confident with that zoning, that there's no restrictions, there's no rules. Your neighbor could be doing short-term rental, you could be doing it again in that area. It's not allowed in the town. It's not allowed in the residential area, which it's probably smart. Okay, so we talked about location and how to analyze it, and we'll get into self-management versus you managing it yourself. What's better. Yes, Shiri, you have a question?
Yeah, quick question on the certificate. So it's an annual certificate, is that correct?
It's an annual certificate that you have to renew with the CITQ, which is a government body that governs the short-term rental. So again, it's not even short-term rentals. I don't even want to use that word. It's touristic. So
Okay.
CITQ is what governs when you are having a rental that is for touristic purposes. So in essence, you're running a touristic business. That's what this is.
Okay, I know some cities in the US are limiting how many certificates are issuing in a certain geographical boundary.
So
Is the same thing happening here?
Well, yes and no. So that's what I was saying before. You need to check, you find this beautiful chalet on the waterfront and it's only 350,000. Okay, but is it zone touristic, right? So what I was saying before is Saint-Côme, this is zone touristic, and there's no restrictions on the neighbor and how far you have to be. However, that being said, I have seen other properties that it's zoned, meaning you have the capacity to maybe do short-term rental. However, it's based on conditions, on the condition that nobody in 10 kilometers is doing it also, on condition that some municipalities are saying, so each municipality in Quebec has their own bylaws. This is what's happening. And Ontario, I've heard, is the same thing. So this is where the research is very important, and you have to get that zoning, that's touristic zoning, not, yes, you can do short-term rental if on condition that there's this.
Understood.
Right?
Okay.
So what you're saying in essence is definitely happening here. It's case by case.
Okay.
But not in Saint-Côme. So that's why we like this project. Yes, Nancy.
Yeah, so just to jump off of that, do we know the clauses of the bylaws or the restrictions, or are you saying that for the touristique, I think it's like touristique de courte durée, that there are no restrictions as of right now?
For the Saint-Côme project, it's zone touristic, and that municipality, there's no restrictions.
Okay. It's not like
I can't speak to all the other municipalities because everyone is changed. Like in the last 6 months, they're changing as we speak. It's
Okay,
literally everybody's having their
change
meeting.
on us in the future.
Not for this one. No, it cannot change because it's zone touristic and there's no conditions. And they will, if something does change, let's say, it's going to be, you're always grandfathered once you have it. So there is what's called an acquired right.
Okay.
So for example, like in other municipalities where people already have the zoning, they have it. When they sell the property, they may lose it, or it depends again on the new rules, they may transfer it. So it's really case by case within the municipality.
Thank you.
But in our case, for now, it's good. Mike, did you have a question or?
My question, Eleni, and you answered it just now, was how often do the cities change it? Because my concern was, I have it today, I may lose it tomorrow, but you've just said, if you do have it today, then you're grandfathered that right going forward. And the only time you would lose it is if you sell the property or anything like that.
Typically, however, the municipalities, I know, for example, Bolton S, my dad has land there. They were doing it. I know Serge lives in the Eastern Townships too. They were recently doing, I saw the meetings go by. They were holding meetings. They were having referendums and votes and discussions. I know in Lachine, I just got the email this week, the town is meeting this week about it. And even though they're allowing short-term rentals in principal residence, Lachine and Verdun are saying, no, in our towns, like we're going to put a bylaw in to not allow it or maybe restrict it. So you really have to do your research in each municipality. But in general, if you have it, and again, this is a general blanket statement, if you have it, there's some sort of acquired right, depending on the bylaw in that municipality. When you sell it, you may be able to transfer it, you may not be able to, or the new owner may have to do something and fulfill conditions in order to keep it, right? So it's just not clear. This is what I mean. So the reason I like this project is because it's zoned. It's very clear that this town of St. Colm wants to be a tourist town. If you go look on their website, they're branding themselves as a touristic town. This is what they want. So this is a good thing. Okay. Chantal?
Hi. I appreciate, I can see that, you've invested a lot of time into finding a location like this. So I can see you've done your due diligence and all of that. So thanks for presenting this opportunity. I guess some of my questions is, so does it have like a village too? I mean, you mentioned there's like some stuff to do around the river, down the road, the water slides, that sort of thing, golf nearby. What about, is there a town, like a village with restaurants and that sort of thing?
There is. Yeah, okay. There is. It's basically like little main street, if you will. So there's one main street that runs through St. Colm. I would love if you guys come up and take a tour. It doesn't do it justice, obviously. So if you think of like Mont Tremblant or Saint Sauveur, it's the same concept. It's the same ingredients, minus the traffic, minus the people, basically. That's what it is. So there's a little town. Is it developed and is there a Starbucks? No, there's no Starbucks. It's, le petit café du coin. Puis it's a little like quaint little restaurant with, it's a little quaint town. There's a church, there's a town hall, there's a pizza place, there's a coffee place, there's another restaurant, there's some, like little spa and little stuff like that. But again, don't forget the town is investing. Mm-hmm. And the idea as investors is we should always be looking to get in when it's not, mm-hmm. That's how I look at it. When it's not the full Mont Tremblant. Again, not that Mont Tremblant there's anything bad with it. It's a different thing. So this is very quiet village cottage, but it's coming. Okay. But there's a town there. You can see it. It's you drive through the town before you get to the skill, basically.
So and not that this is a deal breaker. I went to Rawdon once. They have I guess they have like a nature park, and we went hiking there. It was really, really nice, but the traffic was horrendous. How is that? But I don't know the way to get there. I don't know if there's a way to get around.
I've never had traffic going up every time I've gone. I mean, I go to my sixplex in Mont Tremblant. I have to leave at 7 a.m. because if I leave at 9 a.m., I can't get to Mont Tremblant in under 2 hours because the 15 is blocked, right? It's because that's where everybody has their cottages, right? Every time we've gone up on Saturdays, we've gone up on Sundays. We usually go there for 11. You're not on the 15 we usually would be coming back at 5 o'clock, like 4:35. Mm-hmm. And we didn't, every time we've been going since September, we haven't had any trouble. We haven't had traffic. So I don't know.
Yeah,
no, that's lucky, but it's, and again, we've been going like Saturday, Sundays and coming back on Sundays at 4 or 5 o'clock. And
okay, that's good to hear. It might have just been a situation. There might have been construction. I can't remember, but I just, it's a
might have been construction because we have a lot of that.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. Since September, it's been really good. And actually, that's one of the points that I enjoyed about it. The drive up there. It's like, so you have mostly highway. You can look it up on Google, the drive. And then I had some people coming from South Shore. It took them about an hour and 40 minutes from South Shore. Mm-hmm. So it's highway, and then you're on this route. And after that, it's just this pleasant route with, it's not a highway, but it's not a small, it's like a small highway route, and it's very pleasant. It's an enjoyable ride, but you'll have to come up to take a look at it. That's for sure. I always tell people, come up and look at it because it doesn't do it justice. So once you see it, actually a few of you that are here have come. I think actually Sherry's from Toronto and he actually came up to see it. So he did the drive from Toronto, imagine. Yeah.
Thank you.
So, yeah, you're welcome. So the other thing to consider if you are going to be doing short-term rental is, do you have the time? Do you have the patience? Do you have the skills? Do you want to save a little bit of money and do the management yourself? You can. There's advantages and disadvantages. Obviously, you have to do the marketing, the posting, you have to manage the cleaners, the ins and outs, communications with the guests. Of course, you're going to maximize your profitability. You may like doing the work. You might possibly want to replace your work doing this managing and maybe doing it for others. So that could be good for you. You have to invest your personal time and you have to probably possibly, grow your skill set, right? To make sure that you can effectively manage it and it could be beneficial. You won't pay the management fees. Typically management fees go between 20 to 30%. I know in Montreal they go up to 35% and 40%. We have a few property management companies that we've vetted, we've spoken to, because we're going to be a larger group of investors. And so Team Check-in is actually offering the management for 20% of the revenue. So 20% of what they're able to book for you. But again, you have a choice. You're not forced to do it one or the other. The advantages, of course, with the turnkey is that it's turnkey. It's a professional management company. They have somebody on site. Very important with the CITQ that I mentioned before, they want to know that you have somebody on site in case there is an emergency with one of your guests. So one of the positives about having the property management is they have somebody there. If something happens with the spa, anything, there's somebody there in Saint-Côme. I have colleagues who have properties in Saint-Côme and they deal with Team Check-in. I've had other ones who've dealt with Chalet Galaxia. They're very happy with Team Check-in. So we have a lot of good feedback. So again, the advantages are you're really looking at a hands-off turnkey. You can focus on other investments. You can focus on maybe other things that are paying you more, and it's an expense like anything else. So you have a little bit less cash flow. Good news is even with this 20% management fee, even with the higher rates, we'll get into the financing. This particular project cash flows depending on how you're going to do the finances. So Chantal, did you have a question about the management or something else?
Yes, I did. Yeah, my question. Yeah, I'm just kind of putting this out there. I just want you to know that I'm interested. I definitely would like to go and visit. But at the same time, I just want to let you know if there's anybody else in the group that might be interested in like a joint venture. I just kind of want to give you my name, and if anybody else is interested, maybe they can reach out to you too. Like I'm just, I haven't seen the project, but it crossed my mind, and I just wanted to vocalize that.
Sure. Yeah, and you guys can. I can definitely put you guys in contact and connect you guys if you guys would like to, do joint ventures or stuff like that. No problem at all. So any questions about like the property management? I mean, of course, what I would tell you is if you have like specific detailed questions is call them. I mean, if you're an investor here and you're going to hire these people, I mean, you're their client. So you can call them and say, hey, how does this work? How does this work? But grosso modo, what it is that they take care of everything, right? They're going to check your spa, your hot tub. They're going to deal with the tenants ins and out. The cleaning fee from the way that they manage it is that they charge the cleaning fee, the client pays the cleaning fee. So in all your numbers, the cleaning fee is it's separate. So it's not part of your nightly rate. Okay. Nancy, you have a question?
Yes, Eleni, let me begin. So with Team Check-in or whichever property management company the owner decides to take on, because it would probably be the same photographers and same marketing team marketing your residence or your chalet. How do they differentiate then, maybe your chalet from the guy next door who also has all the same amenities and so forth? Like, can we speak to them to have them cater it a little different or maybe take photos a bit different?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, again, like I said, you're their client. So they're gonna have, and the chalets are not gonna be the same, even if you pick the same model, let's say. Your colors won't be different of your, so they're not gonna take just like the same picture of the same house, right? Of course. Like
Yeah,
if you
that was
have-
my worry, is like.
Yeah,
after-
like if you have a hammock set up, like I know one of my investors, she has a hammock, she has a condo in Magog in the Eastern
Mhm.
Townships, and she's put a hammock in one of the bedrooms in front of the, I went to her condo, it's stunning. And she has a condo like everybody else in the area, but because of that photo of the hammock, she has a higher occupancy rate than everybody else. And she
Mhm.
charges more for her condo and she
I
rents it.
believe that, yeah.
No, seriously. So this is going back to like your features, right? Are you gonna invest in, it's like a restaurant. If I open a restaurant and then you open a restaurant across the street, you know, what's our menu? How does the outside look? Is it inviting? Do we have great customer service? I don't know. You know, so it's gonna have to do a lot with your features, and you're going to work with them. Again, they're working for you. So you're going to say, hey, I'd like you to highlight the spa. I'd like you to highlight my view. If you know, if you're going to choose to invest on the side that you can see the ski hill, you're going to want to have the photo of the ski hill at night in your ad. Right.
Perfect.
Mhm.
Thank
So
you.
I mean, don't forget, they get paid the way I see it. Again, they're not, I'm not, you know, connected to them in any way, but the way I see them is that they get paid if you get paid.
Mhm.
So typically the good management companies, they will work with you, right, to showcase your cottage and like, what are you offering? And you might even decide with them, okay, I'll do like the first 4 weeks, super price, because I'm a new, you know, new cottage. And again, you could, so this is stuff that you can work with them. You're the client, they're giving you a service. So, and what's good is you're not, again, you can try it yourself. You can try different companies. These are the companies that we know work in the area and they have good reviews, good results in the area. So we're trying to make we're trying to make it easier for investors and give you everything give you all the trades and everybody that can help you, right? So we'll get into the finances, because we're going to run short on time, but I always like for you guys to have questions instead of me just talking, because then it goes on and on. So quickly on the interest rates, it's not going to be an, you know, economic overview of what's happening. Everybody knows the interest rates have gone up, less buyers are qualified. However, if you're on the investment side and you follow, you know, Scott McGillivray or any other investors, you know that this is a good time to invest, because there are some people who, you know, may need to sell their house in the next couple of months. Yes, the interest rates are higher, but it doesn't matter. It's not about the interest rates. It's about what you're coming out of, the results you're getting. Variable rates took a bit of a hit for a couple of months. I have one mortgage on a variable. I stressed out a bit, and then I said, you know what? I'm going to calm down. I'm just going to look for other ways to cash flow, and that'll cover and that's what I'm doing. I'm focusing on cash flow so that, yeah, it's an extra $200 a month. Okay, I'm going to find a way to cover that. Right. That's what it is being an investor. It's a business and you're adjusting to everything. What's really neat about new construction, and some people don't know this, and there was an article on this as well in La Presse about new construction and how new construction retains its value. So in this uncertainty of, you know, values are maybe going to go down, when you're investing in new construction, you're buying something, you know, at today's value, and you're getting it built out in a year or two. In this particular case, the builder, by the way, is guaranteeing their prices. They're guaranteeing their prices in writing, that their prices will not go up. Okay, which is amazing. So you're buying something now. We know real estate goes up in value, even if it goes down a little bit. We know that. In Quebec, by the way, for those who are not from Quebec, we are not seeing this sort of sharp decline that's maybe being seen in Ontario and Vancouver. We're not seeing that here. Are we seeing slowdowns in certain sectors? Yes. Our price points are still affordable. There's still people buying and investing. Actually, I would tell you there's more activity than ever before in Quebec. So in general, if you haven't invested in the Quebec market, and you may be scared of it, it's a really good time to get into the market. And I have talked to some of my mortgage broker friends. I'm always following the mortgages. The fixed rates might be coming down with everything that's going, but I won't get into all that. What we typically do for the financing, honestly, is we put you in touch with Desjardins. For this project, we're working with Desjardins. Why? Because it's a strategic plan. You're buying the lot and then you're getting the home built. So you're buying the lot, let's say at 150,000, and you're only paying the welcome tax, the transfer tax on the lot. And then Desjardins is financing the builder. They're going to be sending disbursements to the builder, and you're paying some of the interest on that. And then you're only paying your mortgage once it's built. Let's say it's ready in the fall of 2023 or the fall of 2024. You're only starting your mortgage then. So I can go into more details with you one-on-one if you'd like to get into that, because the financing is very personal. Everybody has a different situation. Some of you have one home, some of you have 5 homes, a rental home. You've already put an offer on another property. That's fine. So what we do is we put you in contact with Nancy Bélanger, one of the team in Desjardins, and they'll go through your profile with you and say, okay, well, you qualify for this, qualify for that. You can, what's great is it's a chalet. You can buy it under your personal as a first home or a secondary home with 10% down. You'll cash flow a little less. You can buy it as an investment, as a rental property. Keep in mind, the banks do not use short-term rental for income. They'll look at it as a regular chalet with maybe a regular income. Again, they're going to do it depending on your profile. Okay. So I don't like to get too much into the financing because it's based on your personal profile. If you are at all interested in it, it's super simple. I put you in touch with Desjardins, and she'll look at your profile and say, oh, maybe you can do it on the commercial side. Maybe you can do it this way, right? There's different options. But in general, how we're financing this project, again, because you're buying the land and you're getting the home built, the strategy is you're going to save on the transfer tax. The other strategy, because it's new construction, is if you need a good accountant and a good notary, of course, is that there's a possibility to recapture or get a refund on the GST and the QST that you've paid, because you're going to be using it for rental income. You're going to have GST, QST account, your business numbers. The first, let's say 3 months or the first reporting period, you'll be able to report that you paid this GST, QST and possibly get a refund. Again, it's based on your scenario, based on how your accountant's going to do it. Okay, but these are all strategies and benefits in this particular project, because it's new construction, because you're buying the land. So that's, again, ideally you speak to Nancy and she'll get into all like the financing. So I did want to answer the question I think Connie had earlier. Is it easier to finance short-term rental than, another property? That's going to depend, again, on your scenario. So if you have, and that's why I always ask, like, how many properties do you have? Do you have other rental income? If you have nothing and this is your first property, it's going to be like a first property. You can even use your RSPs. If it's a secondary property, it qualifies for a secondary home. Again, you can buy it with as little as you can invest with 10% down. So it depends. Chantal says you built a new construction with Desjardins. They were amazing. Yes, they are the only bank, by the way, that deals with this type of project, and that's why we're working with them. Okay. So Bognia from Ontario, by the way, is saying she's interested in a possible joint venture. I know she's in Ontario and has always been interested in investing in Quebec. So eventually maybe she will with a partner like Chantal. So I'll put you guys together. Mike, you're asking, does Desjardins look at potential income for the rent? So I kind of touched on that. There's no bank in Canada that will look at short-term rental as income. There's no bank in Canada, because people always ask that question. That being said, Mike, what I've had some of my clients again, it's case by case. If they need income to qualify, what they're going to do, the bank, is they're going to look at it as a monthly income. They're going to say, okay, what is the monthly rental value for this cottage? Because you're allowed monthly rental, right? So the monthly rental might be $2,500. and they'll use that to qualify you if they need to. Okay, if not, again, the short-term rental income is not taken into consideration. That's across Canada. There's no bank that does it. Somebody else is saying, Sigfredo, Quebec is great for multi. Absolutely. We have a lot of multi-families that need a lot of optimization. And yeah, it's a great place to buy a multi as well. So Mike, for the pro forma and the numbers, I have a Google Drive with all of the calculators, which I'm not going to go through today, and I'll share them with whoever doesn't have them already. No worries. And Connie, you had another question. How much does it cost to start an Airbnb business, including all the furniture you have to buy for the property? Good question. So in the Google Drive, we have the calculators, like I said, for that list all of your expenses. The furniture, we have a furniture company that's given us estimates on how much it would cost. Again, you could do it yourself. You can do it with a furniture company. If you want me to give you like what we've pretty much said is for the minis, you're looking at between 15,000 for furnishing. And for the 3-bedroom Borka, it's about 20, maybe 22,000, depending again on what you want to do with the furniture, how far you want to go with it. Can you visit one of the units this weekend? And we have a company set up there to doing the Airbnb. Yes, so we have the companies set up. We actually have a model home that's being rented right now. It's literally on Airbnb. You can check it out. I can send you the link to it. It's called Mati Royal. If it's not rented, we can go in and look at it. There's 2 other models that are built, so you can look at the finishes, look at the mountains. We can possibly go tomorrow, Mike, if you're free. We are going to be doing a tour next Saturday. And the Google Drive, I'm going to share it with you guys after, okay? Because some of you guys already have it. Then you'll have access to all the calculators and all that stuff. So it's already 12:04. What I'm going to do is I'll go through I'm going to send you guys the Google Drive so you have all the details. In essence, there's 3 models that are geared for investors. There's 2 mini homes, and there's a 3-bedroom Borka. Okay, the mini homes start at 375, 400,000, and the Borka starts at 549 and 575 if you're on the other side, because there's two sections. The developer has decided to offer a 2-year revenue guarantee on the Domaine Blais, which is across the ski hill. And basically what they're offering is they're saying, we believe in the project. We know you're going to make money. We're offering that if you don't make this minimum revenue per year, we're going to pay you the difference. So for the first 2 years, if you have a Borka model, which is a 3-bedroom A-frame, they're guaranteeing 65,000 of revenue, not profit, but you're going to make 65,000. You'll see in the calculators what the profit comes up to. Okay. This is also never before seen. So we actually worked with them. We see this sometimes that the condo developers will offer this. It's rare that you'll see this from a developer of a new short-term chalet. Why? Because they believe in the area. They have chalets in the area. They know that it rents well. So they're really putting their money where their mouth is, so to speak. So this is a great option for investors as well that are maybe, it's your first time doing a short-term rental. It's guaranteed. There are some conditions. You have to use the team check-in for the property management. It has to be available year-round. The chalet should be equipped with a spa, air conditioning, an indoor and outdoor fireplace. Again, going back to the amenities, these are the things that are going to make sure that your chalet stands out and people are going to rent it, right? So again, we can go more into detail with this one-on-one, and you're going to have all the details that I'm sharing with you in the Google Drive. I have everybody's email, so I'm just going to share it with you. There's also a market study that's been done on Saint-Côme. So I've done my own study. The developers have done one. We had 2 separate companies do one as well. And so the numbers, just so you understand, the numbers that you're going to see in the calculators in the Google Drive are very conservative. They're based on market studies. You can go and look at the prices as well. But again, you're going to see different things. You're going to see prices for new listings, people who have new listings. You're going to see older chalets, newer chalets. So make sure you're looking at all the right stuff. I can also share this with you guys, so you have the link to this. Okay, this is just so that you know that market studies have been done using AirDNA, Airbnb, VRBO, and the numbers are based on that. That's what they're not just pulled out of the hat. There are other cottages in the area. To, you know, Sherry's point before, there is competition, which is, it's a good thing. Is it gonna get oversaturated? I don't see that happening anytime soon. I see more the development's going to happen in the next like 2 to 3 years. And then at some point, like, so there's a limited number of lots too, right? It's not as large as Montreal either. There's a limited space for the zoning, which again is one of the reasons I like this area. So this is just an overview of some of the chalets. So this is the mini starting at 400K, with different options. What's great about this one is we did get an evaluation report on this from the appraiser, one of our clients that invested in this, and it came out higher. So remember what I said before about new construction holding its value. It's not only holding its value, sometimes you're investing and you're gaining on the investment, right? Which is another plus for this type of strategy, because you're getting in with a new construction. So you can also buy a chalet that's already built, obviously, right? This is another model, which is a little bit smaller at 375. Those are the minis, and then the Borca Chalet. Again, I'm only showcasing these three because these are the three that are typically geared towards investors, although we do have some people that are buying the bigger models. So this one starts at 549 or 575 on the ski hill. And pretty much the process is, like I said, I'll send you guys the info. We can have a one-on-one if you want more details, but typically you'd either come and visit or you speak to somebody at Desjardins to see what's going on with your profile. A lot of the investors, what they're doing is they're just reserving their lot and their model after we look at it together. And then they go through the due diligence period, they visit, they look at the documents, they go through the financial stuff. And if the project is for you, they go ahead. And if not, they don't go ahead. The reservation is refundable. So this I can go through with you guys. And last but not least, it's going to be ready depending on when you go ahead with it. Some of the chalets will be ready in the fall, well, between summer to winter 2023, and the next batch is going to be fall, winter 2024. So that also depends on your, on your other projects you're doing. And then of course we can help you out with the furnishings and the appliances if you wish. We have a company that can help you with it. If not, you can do it on your own. So that's just sort of an overview of that. And I'll try to wrap it up here because we're already 12:10. This is one of the calculators. This is what it's going to look like when I share it with you. So you have, for example, the price, and then you have the average nightly rate. This one is in French. I have it in English as well. All of the calculators are calculated at a 65% occupancy rate. Okay. However, depending on the model, you might be at 70%. So you have the revenue, and then you have minus all the expenses, your certificates, your property management, your taxes, your mortgage, everything is there. Okay, so I'm going to share this with you guys so you guys can go through it. I can definitely do another meeting where we're just doing the numbers. Today was really an overview of the area and what to look for in a short-term rental. For St. Colm, you have 2 lots which are again zoned short-term rental. There's Versailles, which is a view of the beautiful valley and the mountains, 5-minute drive from the ski hill. I would say that in this section, there's about 5 lots left in terms of like the regular pricing for investors. Then there's larger lots that cost more. This side, so this is the base pricing. And then we have the other lots are across the ski hill. These ones are priced a little bit higher because you have the view of the ski hill. This is the side where you have the 2-year rental guarantee. This is where the incentive is. Okay. And again, we can go through it in detail. I'm going to see if anybody has any more questions, and then I'll draw the winner. And hopefully you guys invite me for a visit if you're there. So let's see if there's any other questions. So Mike, the link for the Airbnb. Well, I'll put everything is in the Google Drive. So I'll send that to everybody. And Freda, you're asking about the furnishing and appliances. So the furnishes and appliances are not included. This is where you're going to kind of decide, what you're adding to your chalet. It's definitely something that you're going to have to add on top of it and see in terms of the financing, how you want to do that. So if you're adding extras to your chalet, what's good is that's going to go into your financing. Furniture cannot go into your financing. So it's either you're financing furniture on the side and you're putting, you have it as an expense. But we do have a company, like I said, that can help you with that, guys. Okay. So that's all the information on my end. I will share